Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Breguet Type 21, reference 3817. You can see this Type 21 Flyback chronograph and you can purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Breguet reference 3817. Now, I'm just going to come out and say it. The Type 20 and Type 21 families have improved in their tangible sense of luxury, materials, quality, and finishing so much that though recognizable as the 20th century sports watches that spawned them, they now sit solidly within the luxury ranks of Breguet watches. No longer the rough-hewn sports watches designed to make the volume for the brand. These are now luxury watches in their own right. Now you can see 42 millimeters in stainless steel on my wrist. The watch actually wears more compact than that, thanks to a reasonably discreet 48.6 millimeter lug-to-lug span. Now this one could have splayed out to infinity, but Breguet kept it fairly constrained and thus reduced ostentation. The combination of a satin-finished bezel with polished case flank also mutes the overall character of the watch, as does the matte-finished dial. A remarkably discreet, understated, and versatile aesthetic for a pilot's watch, which typically speaks to the bigger and bolder, louder and live crowd. This one is equally at home in a business suit. I wouldn't necessarily wear it in a bathing suit, not with this strap, but with 100-meter water resistance, yes, it has that kind of versatility too. 15.5 millimeters thick, it has a conical bezel and a domed sapphire, so you will be able to slide it underneath a looser sleeve. As always, I like to say a jacket or a blazer or a loose sweater. But the watch wears well and light on the wrist. The lugs are short and tightly downturned, which means that my 16-centimeter wrist wears it well. You can see how short those lugs really are. I would say down to 14.5 centimeters in circumference, you can be able to wear this watch with security and style. And the high-grade suede style calfskin leather with an aviator's contrasting ecru simulated patina stitch pulls straight down and has wonderful feeling in the hand and on the wrist. Now it's paired with a Breguet twin trigger, double deployant clasp, minimalist, but all you need to secure the watch against accidental droppage while donning or removing at bedside. It's also quite nicely finished if simply executed. But then again, this is a sports watch, guys. Now the watch features a bidirectional aviator-style bezel, so you can quickly align the index with the syringe-style minute hand. It has a counterpart, the hour hand, likewise, baton and syringe hybrid. The vintage aesthetic of the watch isn't overplayed. There's nothing about the dial that screams vintage wannabe. After all, the aesthetic is true to the 20th century heritage of Breguet, with the Type 20 and Type 21 almost in continuous production since the early 1950s. Not so much a tribute watch as sort of a living ancestor of the first within a continuous line of aviation-centric sports watches. The patina-style lume on the dial is more salmon than the vintage radium that we see elsewhere, giving it a little bit of a quirk factor, but also making it distinctive and setting it apart from the many within the class that are doing something similar. So, first of all of the numerals are lumed, so with that sheer amount of luminescent paint on the dial, this watch explodes at night, easily legible in any light. It's a very functional sports watch. Now let's start the chronograph. You can see the dial itself is a sort of, I would say, hybrid of slate and brown. So imagine a matte slate gray. Now add a little bit of tobacco tinge to it. Now you've got this dial. You can see that there's a raised seconds track outboard. You can see the hour track is sunken slightly beneath the raised minutes track and the raised inner dial. And there's also a countersink for each one of the sub-registers, as well as nice balance with the date anchored at 6 o'clock. Not true to history, but you know what, guys? It's a practical and useful refinement. And for me, luxury means refinement, additional features, giving me more, and this watch does. The caliber features radial minutes, so not only do you have an easy-to-read second scale via a white, high-contrast needle-style chronograph seconds with a charming counterweight, but you also have radial minutes, making that vital second register just that much easier to read. You don't have to pay attention to a little subdial. Of course, it is a flyback. Reset and restart it using the chronograph pusher at 4. No need to stop first. And on the case back, you can see the Breguet caliber. In this case, I'm going to call it semi-in-house 584Q. I call it semi-in-house because LeMania, the original father of this movement, has now been subsumed entirely into the Breguet brand, and with the exception of calibers built for Omega, specifically the Moonwatch, LeMania is now the movement valet for Breguet. The two highly integrated, and LeMania has taken what was originally an early 70s automatic chronograph caliber and essentially elevated it to the state of the art. I mentioned that the state of the finish and materials has been stepped up several times in the Swatch era of Breguet, and here we really see that brought to a head. A gorgeous guilloche pattern atop the golden winding mass. Everything is a step up from what it was in the past. Ceramic rotor bearings for unlubricated operation and high efficiency, winding the 48-hour power reserve. 26 joules, a free-sprung balance for greater ruggedness against shock and vibration, plus it'll take and hold a more precise regulation. Free-sprung with a silicon hairspring. It's also amagnetic in its operation, immune to MRIs, wiring looms, speakers, subwoofers, wallets, purse, and refrigerator door closures. Of course, it does feature a quick set for the date you saw on the opposite side, though hacking is not part of its architecture, a legacy of the age of the movement. However, I will say this, for a cam-operated chronograph, the sensation you get when actuating it is eyes closed, no look at the case back, indistinguishable from a column wheel. So even the functional feel of the movement has been upgraded over the years and adjusted in 6 positions. That is exceptional. You scarcely see even high horology pieces adjusted in more than 5 standard positions. So once more refinement, and again, with 100-meter water resistance, throw this one on a textile, a bracelet, or a rubber strap, and you are good to go. Seaplane pilots, take note. You can see and you can purchase this Breguet Type 21 chronograph on our website.